One of these days I'm going to have to go ahead and just make a brand new intro for that. Anyways, hey everybody, and welcome to From My Mother's Basement, where we just celebrate being a geek. I'm Jason. Michael is normally here to help me out with this, and we just discuss all the week's topics in nerd and news and video games and anime and all that fun stuff. But unfortunately, he's a bit under the weather. It's that move to Oregon, man. If you live in one area for most of your life and then you go into the cold, it's always going to do a number on you. So he do says his apologies. I'm sure you all are with me in wishing him that he feels better very quickly, and that he should be joining us for our next episode in 2 weeks' time. Considering this is going to be the last one of 2016, yeah, I know usually we do like an end of the year special and everything, but we're probably gonna have to wait on that until next time when it's best to actually have Michael here as well with it. So I'm running the show tonight, and with that, I normally drink on Just Geeks and Drinks, my other show, but it's just me. So little Jameson Black Label here will make the holiday mood just right, I think. I mean, that's just me. I mean, some people prefer, regular eggnog, or people enjoy a nice beer, which I enjoy as well. But you know what? Having a nice scotch is always quite nice. So, plus also, I should probably put this on. Gotta have, the Bah Humbug Santa hat out there. Mainly because it's the only Santa hat that I have with me right now. 'Tis the season, because I got the nice background decorations. Reminds me a bit more of Frozen, but that was intentional. Let's just call it that. But anyways, let's get to just some of the things that have been going on. First off, a lot of people have been talking about Star Wars Rogue One, and rightfully so, because that was an amazing movie. You can check out my review on Rogue One on last week's episode of Geeks and Drinks with Jordan, so no need for me to rehash everything right now, just go see it. But a couple bits and pieces about it. It's doing gangbusters at the box office. As of today, it has received over $190 million just domestic box office. Worldwide, that's another $166.8 million. So right now, it's made about a $357 million so far. That's not bad for an extended opening weekend, plus everything's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Not bad at all. It has a ways to go, though, if you want to go against The Force Awakens, which domestic, it hit just shy of $1 billion. Combine that with the 1.1 so odd billion dollars from foreign, The Force Awakens made over $2 billion for Disney. Is Rogue One going to make that? No, I highly doubt that. People, there's always some people saying, oh, I didn't like this, I didn't like that. And for the most part, they have... they're right in their concerns about this film, but I still think it's going to do very, very well. I'm expecting it to make probably about $400 to $450 million domestic. It'll crack $1 billion worldwide easily, but it will not be the $2+ billion that Episode 7 did. And honestly, I think it's a good thing for the sole fact that you can focus on these giant stories and in the episodic movies, 1 through 7. Of course, 8's coming out next year. But these spin-offs, these Star Wars stories, they don't have to be as big. They can have some really great set pieces. They can have really great moments, but they don't need to pull in the draw of, say, Episode 7. I think Episode 7 got a little bit extra because it was a 33-year year gap between the last movie, so we'll see what goes on with that. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you guys will be checking it out soon if you have not already. I know I'm going to go see it again tomorrow with some friends. And I was listening to a podcast, some of my friends over at Cord Killers. These guys are awesome. Check them out, cordkillers.com. And in one of their episodes, they were just talking about Rogue One, and someone mentioned in their chat that, there was a scene in a trailer where you can see Alan Tudyk running in the background in his full mocap suit, because he provides the voice and the mocap for K250, the reprogrammed droid. And I looked around and I was like, where the hell is this scene? I checked all the trailers and I could not find it. thankfully, I was able to find it when I looked into some of the featurettes that were released online. If you look in this one scene, this is right here. It's on the beach. People are rushing around trying to probably get away from the AT-ATs. And of course, there's Alan Tudyk in his mocap suit. And it first, took me by surprise. Like, why would Disney allow this to be in such unfinished form online or release something unfinished? Then I was like, wait a minute, this is kind of behind the scenes. This is, this is a featurette. I guess they can kind of get away with that. It was just a nice little Easter egg that I was like, really? I had to find this, and thankfully I was able to. Cool little thing you guys can find out there. I'm sure there's a ton of other little bits and pieces from Rogue One that you have seen and spotted and were like, I didn't see that before, or have it tied into other canon aspects of the Star Wars universe. But, let's move away from that. What else do we have to talk about today? Let me say one more thing about Star Wars, about Rogue One. So the director, Gareth Edwards, I think he did a phenomenal job, and I've enjoyed his previous works, with Godzilla and whatnot. In a recent interview, he did state, and this kind of gets into a spoiler, so I do apologize if you guys have not seen it yet, but if you haven't yet, what's wrong with you? But Gareth Edwards wanted certain characters to survive this movie. And the thing is, they wanted to try to find a way to expand upon this, that this wasn't going to just be the end of everything. And so certain characters I thought, he wanted to keep. Kathleen Kennedy, who's basically the president of Lucasfilm right now, kind of went, no, there's no point. So all I can say about this film, it's D-Day in Star Wars land. Awesome stuff. Good stuff. Okay, let's move on to some other. Let's go back to some Christmas news, some shopping news. I know a lot of you anime fans out there are always looking for a deal that you can find, because let's face it, anime can get pretty damn expensive if you're not just streaming it off of Crunchyroll or Funimation or what have you. But it's always great to see that some other places are actually providing some decent deals. Case in point, Amazon for just today. If you're watching this live, you can check these out because it was only good for today, the 21st. It ends at 11:59 p.m. Pacific on the 21st. So if you're watching this live, you have about a little less than 4 hours to go for this. But they actually have some decent deals. Let me just pull this up real quick. Some things like Cowboy Bebop, the complete series. When this came out, I spent a grip ton of money on it. And I do not regret that in the least. But if you haven't picked it up yet, it's $47 for the special. It's quite nice. Some other ones in there. Evangelion 3.33. If you haven't picked up the third movie yet, you can get it on Blu-ray for $15. It's usually $30, if not $40. You got a bunch of Black Butler stuff in there. High School DxD, Ghost in the Shell Arise. Ava 2.22. I mean, it's a small collection, but these are some pretty good deals right now you can pick up. I highly recommend the $15 for Ava 3.33 if you have not picked it up yet. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube after the fact, unfortunately, you kind of missed it. It was just a one-day deal. But do not fret, because that was just one deal. But there are many, many deals going on. RightStuff.com always has their holiday deals that go on for like a month, if not longer. I know they have some other deals for the end of the year they'll probably be announcing very shortly, if not already. But the one I looked up and I was really happy to check out was the announcement of the Steam Winter Sale start date. Okay. If you're a gamer, especially a PC gamer, you kind of know that the running joke of there's a Steam sale, take all my money, or I'm so broke I can't buy a damn thing. That's all going to happen once again. It was announced that the winter sale is starting actually tomorrow, on the 22nd. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, you should probably play some PC games, and Steam is where you get about 99% of your games itself. Now, with that though, these sales go on for about a week and a half, and every day Every 8 hours, every 6 hours, and even down to every hour, there's a new sale going on. And some people will go crazy for these things. There's some games that you can get as cheap as $1, if not less than that. You can get games that were initially $60 for less than 10 sometimes in these sales. You definitely want to check these ones out. Store.steampower.com is the website if you do not have a Steam account. If you don't have Steam already installed in your PC, that's where you want to go. But it all starts tomorrow, so you want to jump on that, and let's hope your wallet can stay sane throughout this sale. Speaking of stuff with gaming, not really necessarily a sale, but I want to jump over to Blizzard, especially with Overwatch. Blizzard's always been known to create some fantastic lore for their games, whether it's World of Warcraft or StarCraft, and especially nowadays with Overwatch. You would think a first-person shooter kind of like Team Fortress 2 would just be another bland one in a series of bland games, but no. Blizzard always put this, a Pixar level polish on everything they do, and the characters and the backstories, and especially the lore, tying the whole world together and what's going on between the different characters. But that's also kind of part and parcel to what fans do, the shipping of all the characters. You throw a bunch of characters together online in a single game, and plenty of people are going to try to ship or pair their favorite characters together, whether it's Mercy and Pharah, or it's Hanzo and Genji, if you really want to go down that route. But in a recent comic that Blizzard has released, with all the Overwatch characters enjoying some time with friends and family during the holiday season, they did release some lore that a lot of fans went freaking crazy over. And I look at it, that's awesome. Doesn't need to be as big of a deal that people are saying, but it is a kind of a cool thing. The main character you would see on all the art boxes and whatnot, Tracer, apparently actually now has a girlfriend. So yes, this is, I think, the first queer character in the Overwatch canon. So a lot of people went freaking crazy about it. A lot of people also got pissed off for the sole fact of, this is not my ship, this is not my pairing, this is not what I wanted, I want something different. But you know what? It's a game, it's characters, it's lore, deal with it. It's a cool little extra little bit if you enjoy getting into a lore of a game. Blizzard is like the master of that. So how this will tie into something else, we shall see. Kind of a cool thing. I read the comic. The comic is beautifully drawn, by the way. You definitely want to check that out. But yeah, go play Overwatch. Now you have a queer character in there. That's now canon. It's no longer just fans shipping everything out there. Just go have fun with it. If you don't want to get into lore, it doesn't affect you one bit. What other stuff? You know what? Let's go mobile. Mobile, because everyone seems to want to give a new surge into mobile gaming. Mobile gaming has always been there, yes, in one form or another. But then when you get major companies like Nintendo jumping in, like Super Mario Run, people kind of go crazy for this stuff, and rightfully so. I downloaded this the day it was available. I actually ended up paying the extra $10 to unlock all the levels, and yeah, it was just a fun game. It's very polished. It was created in partnership with a company called DNA, who's worked on mobile games for years. Used to know a couple friends who actually worked at DNA. They always do some fantastic work there. But yeah, they're breaking records with this. And when I mean 40 million times in the first 4 days. This article by The Verge brings up some more details that when this first was available, they're averaging about 2.85 million downloads in its first day, in the first 24 hours. Now, this is all speculation by third-party companies, because Nintendo themselves have yet to come out and give official numbers. Now, the other thing beyond this is that the first 3 games, first 3 levels, I should say, are absolutely free. You can download it for free and play the first 3 levels. But if you want to play the first boss level or any of the remaining 6 levels and bosses, there's a one-time $9.99 fee to unlock the entire game. It seems kind of high for a lot of people, but if I remember correctly, during the initial announcement, they were saying $14.99. So having it for $10 is, I will take that. Reviewers are mostly positive. There's always some caveats to that. Some people think that it's just an odd move for Nintendo to try to do a type of freemium, but don't really get the freemium aspect of everything. Um, but it does not matter because Nintendo made a boatload of money off of this. And yes, that is going to Nintendo this time. This is not people thinking the popularity of Pokemon Go was strictly from Nintendo. And you remember that whole bit that Nintendo stock skyrocketed for a while, and then Nintendo had to come out and say, you know, we do have a stake in the Pokemon company, but we didn't make this. And of course, their stock went right back down. But you know what? I'm looking forward to this, to the updates for this game, I should say. Because Nintendo said there's going to be some holiday themed items. I mean, they're going to do the freemium thing for a while, I'm sure. And this is the first of many games that will be coming out. Will we ever get like an actual Mario game, like you can control it, you know, like a regular Super Mario Brothers game? Probably not. These are always, when they first made the announcement of this partnership going into mobile gaming, they made the announcement that these are going to be new games based on their classic IPs, but they will not be what you are expecting. There are different experiences for all these games. Honestly, I'm all for it. It's more Nintendo, and if they can create something that'll tie in with the upcoming Nintendo Switch, I ball for it. I'm absolutely in love with that console, and I haven't even played it yet. I love the idea of it. I want to check it out when it comes out. I know they have that tour coming out throughout the United States, but by the time it comes to my area in Los Angeles, we're not going to get maybe 2-3 days, maybe a week before the console comes out. I'll just wait for the console to come out at that point. But that's not the only mobile gaming thing that's making news right now. Capcom wants to get on the action because they made the announcement that the first 6 Mega Man games will be coming to mobile next month. These games have been known to be ruthlessly hard, and they spent a lot of a lot of my childhood was spent on some of these games here. So Capcom stating that each of these mobile ports will be going for about $2 on the App Store and Google Play. To differentiate between anything else, you'll see the word mobile appended to each of these titles. Great thing, though, is that they did come out and state that there will be no microtransactions. The $1.99 for each game is the full price of the entire game. There's no, here, have the first 6 levels, and then if you want this extra little bit or energy bar, you're going to have to pay like an extra 99 cents or anything like that. So this will be the first time on these games will be on mobile devices for iOS and Android. The thing is, though, my concern is how it's going to play. If you've played them on the original, you know, the NES, if you have one of the mini NES, I hate you because I can't get one in this area because the moment I try to find one, it's sold out well in advance. But to check, to play these games, to have that physical control was kind of necessary for some of these games that required such precise, button mashing, basically. So to try to throw it on a mobile device without any physical buttons, I mean, are they going to just do like the virtual overlay that some games have done in the past? I find that those games are kind of hard to control, really. I mean, your thumbs, if you were using a physical controller, physical buttons, you can feel where the button's at. You know where it's at instinctively. You can just move forward without having to look down like, okay, there's A, there's B, where's jump again, stuff like that. When you throw it on just an overlay of a game itself, there's no tactile response or feeling where the buttons are at, and you come across these times where you meant to press A, but your thumb drifted and hit B instead, or missed the button altogether. So you're just tapping on a empty part of the screen. It makes no sense at that point. I'm hoping Capcom has a way to get around that. I really hope they don't try to go the path of, oh, you can just use a Bluetooth controller on your phone and you can have a physical controller that way. That kind of negates the whole point of having this on on mobile. If I have to carry a separate device with me to play this on the go, I just don't like that. But that's just me. In the chat, Kathy's talking about with Pokemon Go. Kathy, not everyone has to be into Pokemon, and actually, a good deal of people are still playing Pokemon Go, myself included. Not as much as before. It did burn brightly that first month or two that it was out. Like I would go to the park to walk around and play the game, and I would see whole families walking around and playing that game together, and that was an amazing thing to see. Um, but there's always these little things here and there that Niantic Labs, the people who made Pokemon Go, have kind of dropped the ball at different parts here and there. They are getting better. They released a bunch of new Pokemon. They released them in the latest update. The nearby system works a little better, although I kind of like to use a third-party app for some of that stuff. Um, but it's kind of like Niantic's MO. They can do some really good stuff right at the beginning, but supporting is where they still need to improve upon. Case in point, Ingress. They're one of their first big hits. I still play that too from time to time, and I'm still woefully low on that. I have friends who are like 8, 9, 10. I think 12 is the highest that one of my friends is at right now. I think I'm still at 3. I need to play more of that. But again, it's a similar design game where it's based on GPS. You actually have to walk around. You actually have to physically go to places to play this game. Makes you walk. Some people try to find ways around that, but that kind of negates the whole point of the game. So, let's get to some tech news before we go back to some movie news. Sling TV is one of the, I would say one of the early major players in the cord cutting game that you would find nowadays, because you also have PlayStation View, and more recently you had DirecTV Now. I can do a whole review on all of those at a later time, but with Sling, they look like they're trying to mix it up just a little bit. A recent leak, or they're now saying that Sling accidentally revealed it themselves, showcased their own set-top box. This is rumored to be called the Air TV Player. And honestly, this is actually not a bad little system. So the idea behind it is that it will merge both over-the-air TV tuning, their online option, Sling TV, but also Netflix. So that's a great little thing. So with this one app, like you see on that image, Sling My TV at the top, so in theory, you should be able to differentiate easily between over-the-air broadcasts if you have local sports games, you watch local news or local networks, ABC, NBC, Fox, all of that stuff. You will have that built into this system. Before this, you would always need a separate over-the-air TV tuner device, but you never had like the same interface. You would have to swap between inputs on your TV. It started getting a little bit of a hassle. With this, though, I can see them getting a lot of not only press, but also maybe new converts over to Sling TV. They have a decent selection, and they said that their over-the-air cloud-based DVR system is currently in beta, so that's always a good thing to have. The only one that really has that right now is PlayStation View. They're also the most expensive at this moment, but they're still totally worth it. But this little box to actually have over-the-air plus Sling TV, so you can get most of your cable channels for like $40 a month, and then you can tie in your Netflix account all in one box, kind of like an Apple TV or a Roku. I think you actually get some converts to that. If you're looking for, say, mom and dad, and you want to get them off cable because they're paying, God knows how much, but they only watch like a handful of shows or just a few channels here and there. I think this would be a fantastic thing for them because it should be a relatively simple to use system and easy to recognize, easy to use interface. I think it'll work pretty well for power users like myself and like Nightstar in the chat and whatnot. You're probably looking for something that has a lot more options out there, whether you're looking for say like a Roku Ultra or something along those lines, where you have a bunch of different options. Or what the hell, just get a Raspberry Pi and make one yourself. You can do that. You have plenty of options out there. But for the older generations, something like this, like an Air TV, I think would be beneficial to get people to, cut that cord and get away from cable companies. Because let's face it, you really don't need it nowadays. Oh, what do we got here? Let's get to the news for some movies, and I got to talk about Wes Anderson. He's one of those people that you can, you love or hate his style, because he goes all over the place, and he's had some really good, hits as of late. His biggest hit, the latest one, was the Grand Budapest Hotel. Absolutely love that film. He's also done stop motion animation films like Fantastic Mr. Fox. It was a bit slow and weird at times, but then again, that's Wes Anderson's MO. It kind of works for him. So it's always curious to see what he's going to be, working on next. And now we don't have to wonder, because he's already made his announcement. So he's actually working on another stop motion animated film. This one's going to be called Isles of Dogs. So we have another stop motion animation feature, probably looking in the same vein as Fantastic Mr. Fox. Probably his little quirky sense of humor and storyline. I think that'll work really well. And I'm hoping, given the fact that he has a couple things going for him that I'll get to in just a second, that this will be a profitable movie and seen by a lot of people. Things he has going for him. First, Grand Budapest Hotel. His most successful movie to date was just his last one. So this is his follow-up to that. More people are going to be interested in seeing his work. Second, the casting for this film. He's always been known to work with some, major players in the industry. And this listing includes many cast members who've worked with him in the past numerous times, but let's see if we can go down this whole list. Edward Norton, Bill Murray, Jeff Goldblum, Bob Balaban, Scarlett Johansson, Bryan Cranston, F. Murray Abraham, Tilda Swinton, Greta Gerwig, Frances McDormand, Liev Schreiber, Yoko Ono, Courtney B. Vance, and many others. It's going to be like a who's who in the industry on these animated film, which makes sense. It's easier for them to grab them because it is because of stop motion animation. You only need the actors in the booth for maybe a week max, and that's only for a few hours a day. I'm sure they've been working on this film for a while now, because stop motion animation takes forever to do. And there's no announcement yet when this will be coming out, but we're talking probably, a lot of people were guessing 2018 at the earliest. He is providing all this information on a website called CrowdRise to check it out. It's crowdrise.com/Wes Anderson. And some more information that was released, given the artwork that's been posted on his page. This looks to be a Japanese-inspired story. So I'm very curious to see how his artistic style is going to take on a story like this. So it should be good. I'm hopeful about it. But I am not hopeful I gotta take a drink for this next film. Oh, yeah, it's delicious, but it's not gonna ease the pain of a teaser trailer that came out recently for something that should just have never ever been made, approved in the first place. It makes no sense whatsoever. I'm talking about the Emoji Movie. Yes, there is a trailer out for it now. I love the fact in aisle 9 the title is literally "Happy Face Movie equals shit," because it's just, whatever you're expecting from this movie is not going to be much. It's just about emojis going in, or all the emojis actually live in the text app, but they break out and go into the world of wallpaper, which is basically your home screen. So it can jump from app to app, and it's just them going on wild, crazy adventures. Why? Just why? did this really need to happen? Did we really need to have this kind of I yeah, okay. I'm not going to dwell on this too much. That's a thing that is out there. I question this more than say the all-female Ghostbusters movie. That was god awful. Um, so yeah, that was a thing. It's out there. You can watch that in its entirety if you want. I'm not going to recommend you do so. I am, however, going to end this episode with well, the news part, at least, for an art book that was just recently announced that looks fantastic. You guys know my love of Ghost in the Shell, and you've heard Michael and I, and of course Jordan and I, go back and forth about this film with the design and the casting, and people thinking about it all being whitewashed. Whatever way you want to look at it, um, they nailed the look of it down as much as one can do a transition from anime to live action. And so when they announced this book, it looks gorgeous. So I also had this article. This will be coming out later on next year, and they were able to reveal just a few of the pages for it. And they go into detail of, here's some sketches of the design, what we were looking for. How do we kind of transition that from paper to screen? Do we need to go through physical? Do we need to go through CGI? It could be a blend of the two. I mean, it looks gorgeous. And I'm always a fan of art books just to get, it's a little extra step of behind the scenes, like how did they get to these moments? How did they create some of these, these great scenes? So I cannot wait for this. Whatever you guys think about the upcoming movie, I'm sure you agree with me. The art is incredible. The book itself will be available March 14th, 2017 for $45. I think I want to say right now it's worth it. Movie, I will go see it. I can't remember if I can recommend you guys going to see it. Just because people can think about, again, the whole whitewashing thing. Will Scarlett Johansson be good enough for this film? Honestly, we'll just have to see at that point. Usually these episodes last longer, and but like I said at the beginning of the episode, Michael is a bit under the weather right now, so he will return for our next episode, which will be on January 4th in the new year in 2017. We will also do a recap of 2016, not only just of what From My Mother's Basement has done. I know we had that big break during 2016, so we'll also be talking about world events and our thoughts about 2017. Let's face it, after a year like 2016, we can all hope that 2017 will be better. We can hope, but we just can't guarantee that. Stuff that I have been watching as of late. Actually, I've been binging a lot of anime as of late. Come to a lot of extra time recently, so I've been trying to see what can I check out, what is out there that I have missed. And some of the things I'm checking out, Bunraki, you can just see it as BBK, BRNK. I binged that for, all 24 episodes in I think it was 2 days. With the exception of the last episode, which I had to wait a week for. I hate when I do that. Worth it. I enjoyed they're continually polishing the whole CG with an anime hint to it, basically, is the way I want to describe it. It's all CG. They ever since Appleseed, they've been improving upon it to the point where there are some scenes where I couldn't really tell if it was actually hand-drawn or CG animated. They're getting that close. It's not as bad as, say, like the Uncanny Valley, with realistic CG for movies and whatnot, but as far as anime is concerned, they're getting there pretty damn quick. And with everything what you could do with CG is so much faster than what you could do with hand-drawn, I can easily see a number of anime production companies going out there and saying, it's at that point, we can do this stuff a lot faster. Let's work on more projects, which means more anime for all of us. I call that a very, very good deal. It's a win-win. What else have I been checking out? What was the other one? Oh, yes. Izetta, The Last Witch, takes place in a fictional world around the same time with World War II. Take some of the elements of World War II but put it in a fantasy world. Absolutely loved this series. Go check it out. Absolutely worth it. The animation is absolutely gorgeous. Just gorgeous. And it's a really heartwarming story. You want to check this out. Um, bit of the feels in there, so you guys want to be wary of that. If you're like if you're looking for a tearjerker, it won't be that bad, but you'll still have some feels. Um, on the the opposite spectrum of that, you have some people were mentioning I should check out Keijo, the yeah, that anime. You guys know exactly which one I'm talking about. The girls fighting each other with just their butts and trying to knock them off platforms in a pool, and physics and fan service, and yeah, that is all that is. Do not expect anything deep. If you want something just to tune out while you're getting home from work, you can have that in the background. If you're going to focus on it, don't expect much. Just yeah, it is what it is. I know that Michael has been pushing me. He wanted me to check out Occultic 9, and that first episode was just it wasn't my cup of tea. Um, but I normally give series like 3 or 4 episodes, so I'll have to push through and try to see if it gets any better from there. If you guys have any suggestions on where or what I should check out, you guys know how to get a hold of me: Facebook and Twitter, OtakuLife Jason. I'm always there. I try to respond back to posts fairly quickly. We will be back in 2 weeks on January 4th for our first episode of 2017, plus a recap of 2016, and Michael should be back as well. So I do want to thank you all for joining me for this episode of From My Mother's Basement, and hope you guys have happy holidays and a great new year, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Take it easy, everybody.